all fans really want to see is players giving it their all.
Yeah, right in the cock it was, yeah. But it was good
What a
save.
wonderful way to finish the podcast. Welcome to Lose to Win, the podcast with myself, Jack, Josh, Ben, and Super Charlie. How's things, guys? How is everybody doing?
Hey, good evening. Nice to see you. See you all. Nice to speak to you all.
How you doing, guys?
Oh, who we
Yeah,
got?
really
Super
good, thank
Charlie.
Super Charlie.
Nice to
Super
have
Charlie is
A Bournemouth and Poole legend.
Ooh.
yeah, paying for both, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's nice
You
to have a
little
team
slut.
member on, I must say.
I am a slut for football.
Yes, two blacks.
I am.
Yeah,
Super
yeah.
Blacks as well, yeah. Wow.
I think I was just the first of the blacks on, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
So,
could be, yeah.
an honour.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We can scrutinise Josh's captaincy and whatever else.
Oh, okay.
Fulham,
yeah, get some
Fulham
insight.
scored against at Anfield.
Oh, brilliant. That's great news.
Oh, Steve will be happy.
You're going to keep us a little running commentary of that
I
if you
could
can,
do.
Charlie. That'd be great. I haven't got it on. So, what
fantastic.
we'll do, Charles, is we will we'll introduce you as we've done there, and we'll let Josh get stuck into the roundup, and we'll get going if everyone's happy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
crack on, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to crack into the roundup straight away then, do we? Or
Please
we
do,
go
yeah,
into
let's do
Charlie?
it.
Okay. Well, it was this one's from the first week back then, so the annual day of reckoning, I guess, as it's called, really. We've enjoyed the Christmas celebrations, and now to pay the festive piper and tidy up the mess, really. Taking the club as a whole, it was a bit of a hit on our running total. A collective gain of 48.2 kilos,
Yikes.
just over a Kylie. So, but that's to be expected at this time of the year, and it's an improvement on how Christmas hit us last season. There are lots of reasons to be encouraged by last week's results. 20 players out of the 58 weighing in managed to lose weight since their last visit to
Very
the scales. A fantastic individual achievement over the Christmas break and proof that it can be done.
Yeah.
30 players managed to beat the coach. Steve unfortunately gained 1.1 kilos over the break. A bit of a disappointment, he says, but it's a huge improvement on his result last year. So
Yeah, that's not too bad,
bittersweet.
is it?
I think
Yeah, that bike did not do a job, did it?
yeah,
Apart from drying his clothes.
Yeah,
no, it
totally.
didn't do anything.
yeah. With his beat the coach bonus, at least one match it made a decisive final result. So, talking of which, we had Blues and Purples play out a 9-all draw
Yeah.
overall.
Rats.
The Yellows lost 15-10 to the Whites, who pick up their second consecutive
on a
win
roll.
of the season. Yeah. Us Blacks beat the Reds 8-7
Very
in a close
good.
one. And then Oranges and Greens, top of the table, top two clubs of the team, of the table, who were only one in it. So the Greens won 15-14
Wowzers.
against the Oranges.
Wow.
A very close one. The Whites were the big winners on and off the pitch. 6 out of the 8 weighing in managed to lose weight,
Yeah, that's brilliant.
That's
with
incredible.
7 beating the coach to claim 2 bonus goals. Yeah, that is very good after a Christmas break, isn't it?
yeah.
Very
Yeah,
impressive.
it's so good.
They were also the only team to achieve a collective loss this week,
Wow.
weighing in at 1.2 kilos less than last time. The Oranges defeated the Greens on the pitch, only to lose by a single goal due to the Greens' hefty collection of goals for beat the coach,
Surprise,
which was
surprise.
the one.
That's what it's about,
Unfortunate
though.
one.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. And last man standing also was a big factor in that game as well. Blues won on the pitch against fellow Pitch League front-runners Purples, but had to share the overall honours as Scales goals turned the game into a draw. Us Blacks enjoyed a victory on the pitch and overall against the Reds, but I will say we were a bit lucky because the Reds gave away 4 ringer goals. A reminder of how important it is, I guess, to turn up if you possibly can, even if you've had a bad week on the scales.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was, I can't say that was the case in any way, by the way. I have no, but I didn't realise until I got to the weigh-in that you actually don't get an own goal
After
in
Christmas.
the first week after Christmas, regardless.
Yeah.
So,
Was that not
Yeah, I
just
didn't-
Steve
Steve
being
kept
nice?
it quiet cleverly, I think.
Yeah, well, Steve purposely kept it quiet, didn't he? But I did remember actually driving in. I was like, because I was a definite own goal, as I said I would be, and I thought, hang on a minute, I'm not sure that you can score an own goal the first week after Christmas. So luckily enough, that happened to be the case. Because I was
I
most
literally have the
lucky for
memory
me
of
as well.
Goldfish, so I completely forgot about that. But I think
That's a
it
good
did
thing.
me not that I did very well, but it did me a great favour because I think I worked out I was about 1.5 kilos down from Monday to Friday, so I proved that I can do it in that period.
Brilliant.
And I think it gave me that added incentive that I was worried about an OG, but thankfully didn't need to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I keep forgetting that you don't get an OG if you lose weight.
No, that's right.
So I always keep thinking, if I come to this week, I might still be an OG, but then I realise I'm going to lose weight. So
You see, I didn't know that until you mentioned it last week. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
they changed.
I think
They
it's a
changed
common
the rule.
misconception.
Yeah, they changed the rule, didn't they? I think about a year ago now. To be fair, it used to be that you scored an own goal, but I think because it was really quite harsh for people that were struggling to like continually score own goals if they went above their start weight and just couldn't quite get back down again, that they changed it so that, you know, even if you do go above, yes, you score an own goal once, but as long as you lose weight the next week, then it doesn't count. So I think it definitely works better as it gives you more incentive, keeps the morale up to successfully lose weight, let's say.
Keeps people coming back.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So that was good.
Yes, yeah, indeed, yeah. There were bonus goals, by the way, in abundance last week, with 7 players falling out of last man standing, leaving us with just 10 left.
Ooh, down to the final
so
10.
all 10 score a bonus goal, or have scored a bonus goal this week, and will score a goal
every week now.
A goal a week, every week until the end of the season, as long as they keep losing weight to stay in. So,
that's
Christmas claimed 2 more of the perfect rounds, but 4 men, Tom Marks, John Costa, Ravnath, and Tim Winrow, kept their unbroken run of losses going to earn an additional bonus goal. So they've yet to gain any weight or
Fabulous.
to. Wow. They've lost weight every single week this season, which is
incredible.
How many weeks do we have left? Does anybody know?
4.
Is it a 14
we've played
week
10,
season?
haven't we? Yeah, so we've got 4 to go.
Yeah, so that's what an achievement to get this far. Just hang
amazing.
in there, guys. Keep doing it.
Yeah, especially over Christmas.
Yeah, man.
Think about it as well. Yeah,
that's dedication.
The final 10, by the way, just to read them out. So we've got Tom Marks from the Reds, Ollie Wentworth from the Blues, Mark Coffin, Mark Coffin, Ravnath, and Tim Winrow from the Greens.
Wow.
The Dowling brothers, Ed and Tom Dowling from the Purples. Dimmy from the Yellows. And
what a boy.
Jet Ganner and John Costa from the Oranges.
Okay.
So those bonus goals could come thick and fast for those people.
Yeah, they will.
That seems to be advantage Greens, as they've got 3 left. But they've survived the hardest week, so there's no reason not to go all the way until the end of the season now, potentially.
Yeah, and I know Tim and Rav are egging each other on, aren't they? So that's clearly working for those boys.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah,
it's amazing.
There were no milestones this week, but 8 hat-tricks, and Dimmy leads the team of the week, coming out of the Christmas break with a phenomenal loss of 3 kilos.
Good man. He's totally on it.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I did see him actually as he was leaving the weight room on the way out, and it just felt noticeable. It seemed noticeable on him, if I'm really honest. Yeah. I did say that to Tim as well, because he was wearing like a much smaller black.
Tim's gradually just vanishing.
It's mental, isn't it?
You know that jacket he was wearing
was
his lad's jacket.
Really?
It shows how much he's lost, doesn't it? Where he was to that. It's so good.
He's feeling good as well, though.
Very, very impressive.
He's feeling really good about it, especially coming off the back of Christmas. So,
good lad.
He's smashing it out of the park.
Inspiration.
And I notice it as well, watching them play.
Yeah.
So, there's that's just that slight extra speed in the first step, isn't there? And a little bit more agility, which I think you tend not to notice yourself, but other people do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
we can look forward to that on Friday.
Are you playing Greens on Friday? Blacks v Greens, is it?
Yeah, it is, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, tough one.
We were going to see Yeah, going to be a difficult one. I think our team seems like we might be doing well on the scales this week, but
Good.
obviously we know what the greens are like, so we've got to at least get close. We've got to get close.
Yeah.
So to give it a
You've
chance.
got to be on it to beat them.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, back to the team of the week. So we had Dimmy at the top with 3 kilos, and then Jez with 1.6 kilos, Ollie with 1.6 as well,
Go on.
Tim Winrow with 1.5, Ravnath with 1.5. So they're neck and neck again. Matt Young with 1.2 and Sid with 1.1
Well done,
kilos.
Yeah, super
Yes,
Sid.
very good. I think he walked into the weight room and he was like, I'm definitely put on weight. I've definitely put on weight. There's no way. Yeah.
That's great, though.
There's not
when
much
that
of him
happens,
anyway.
right?
I think the walk from Littledown might have helped him.
Yeah,
Did he walk the way
That'd
there?
be all
Did he?
in
Okay.
fluids.
Yeah.
Anyway, overall, we've come out of Christmas in pretty good shape, I guess, for a Christmas. In addition to the 20 losers, another 10 gained less than a kilo in mince pies, booze, and pigs in blanket, which is not too shabby at all, really.
No.
We've had 6 new starters this week as well.
Great news.
Welcome to Chris, Jamie, and Sam, and welcome back to Steve, Bill, and Ruben. I noticed that Ruben was in last minute. He literally just turned up. I wasn't expecting him to be there. I don't think anyone was.
Oh, I was.
He wasn't on the list I was given
I'd had
by
a little
Steve.
chat.
And then
I'd had a little chat
was...
to Reeves earlier.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Well, it
oh,
was.
hey.
Yeah.
It's great to see some familiar faces and the new guys as well, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah. I just saw him standing over the centre spot for the last game. I was like, what? I didn't. He wasn't on the list, so snuck in last minute. We're expecting more, hopefully, to join over the next few weeks. Anyway, at least I know of a few who will be returning probably at the end of the season.
Oh, amazing!
So,
yeah, that's great news.
2 or 3, I believe. If your weigh-in was a disappointment, anyway, don't take it to heart. There's nothing wrong with enjoying Christmas and taking your foot off the gas a little. The important thing is to take wherever you are now as a starting point and get back into the good habits that served you well leading up to the Christmas break. So
second.
We can all just start from there and the second wind as such. So let's all make next week a big step in the right direction and go again.
Yeah.
It's time to bounce back.
There's a few shout outs I wanted to do if possible. I'm sure they listen to the pod. So first off, you referenced Whites and Craig. I know personally, I think Ben, you might have had a chat with him as well. Personally, I've had conversations with Craig, who was lacking a little bit of not necessarily motivation. I think he was getting a bit disheartened by the circumstances, finding it difficult to do what he wanted to do, but also support the team at the same time. And they just needed that bit of momentum. As you say, they got two wins on the bounce and are looking formidable. A good footballing team as well as a really good unit of a team. So really a shout out to Craig and the Whites.
Yeah, well done,
especially
boys.
Craig. I know Craig's done a lot to get to this point and to keep going. Also, obviously, welcome back the guys that have come back and also the new faces. But somebody that we talk about a lot as inspirational and somebody that really helps everybody is Tim. I think it's more than just his journey now for him. He's so good at helping other people.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
know that a lot of people have started using the Fat Secret app that he spoke about on here, but also he's having separate conversations with people about that sort of thing too. He checks in with me every now and then as well. He's just a top fella and somebody that if you're from Malvern at Bournemouth and you haven't had a chance to really chat to Tim, he is as northern as it comes, but as friendly as they come in that sense. And that's that northeast thing, isn't it? They are so friendly and so welcoming. I love Geordies and
good lad.
Lackams and how they all are.
Yeah.
And he epitomises what we're all about, and somebody that should be super proud of what he's doing for himself and other people as well. So just a little shout out for them.
Yeah, they've all been fantastic on the greens, haven't they? But Tim, I think, is at least a decent part of the driving force behind that team. And that's no disrespect to anyone else. They've all been phenomenal this season. But yeah, when you speak to him, you get that impression, don't you? And he's been brilliant. So for everyone.
Mentality monsters. They used to say that about Liverpool, didn't they, when they were up against City in those title runs? And he the Greens are like that, but especially him and Rav, they really are pushing themselves and others on. So super work.
Been phenomenal. Yeah, brilliant. Well, that's the roundup for the week, lads. We just keep going. We keep going.
Another week under the belt.
Consistent progress is the aim. Indeed.
Exactly.
Yes. Anyway.
So should we get stuck into to letting everybody else learn about our mate Charles?
Yes.
Indeed.
So, Charlie, what we do, I know you listen to the pod, but for others that are joining us for the first time, what we'll do is we'll kind of go through a bit of a few icebreakers to learn who you are, your story, your team, your inspirations, all of those bits and pieces. Much like my brother Jordan, when you come on, you also have a career in football and work within football as well. So we'll ask you about that sort of thing too. But if we start off by, if you want to tell us your team, your favourite player and your favourite memory, if you want.
Yeah, so I am a big United fan, so always have been. I don't know, kind of like
which United. We better start there.
Of course, right. The only relevant. Well, I say relevant, not right now, but the biggest is Manchester United. I guess always my dad supported them. So did my brothers, apart from one who is a Newcastle fan, because he kind of grew up through the Shearer years and just kind of fell in love with the club. But apart from him, we're all United. Favourite player's got to be obviously Ronnie. I think that growing up from when I was obviously born to when he left in 2009, he was just immense and showed why he got his move to Real Madrid, which did bring a tear to my 9-year-old face when he left and went to Real Madrid. However, I was lucky enough to watch him in the Champions League. I went to in the 2012-13 season, saw him score a goal and do like a sorry lap of honour almost at the end of a game. That was quite nice.
Right, yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, but probably my favourite memory is probably one of Jack's non-favourite memories is Van Persie signing. So I went to watch his first game against Arsenal at Old Trafford. Obviously, it finished 2-1. I think if I remember correctly. And I believe he scored to make it 2-1. So that was a fantastic game with the atmosphere. But it's kind of just why I fall in love with football is the atmosphere. Realistically, I think that I'm very much someone who has to watch live football. Like football at home is fine, but you can't beat live football.
Yeah, I agree.
I completely agree.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
Mate. Oh,
I completely put that guy and that memory to the back of my mind. So thanks for judging that.
He was, mate. Literally, Sir Alex got him in, and he won a title single-handedly. For
mental.
Year, really. Was it?
It was a great
25 million or something, was he?
Very cheap.
And
for what he did that season, you just kind of stand back and think about how good it was for us and what it could have been for Arsenal that season, realistically. Because he got his goal against Villa. Unfortunately, I wasn't at that game, but what a finish that was! Rooney's clip over the top to him.
I think. Yeah, I was going to say. I think the pass was unbelievable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For that one, and
then obviously that season I was lucky enough
to be worth today's market. Like Van
Persie's got to be
silly money, wouldn't he?
Oh, at that point of his career, you're looking at probably I don't know. I'm saying between 80 and 100.
Easy. Yeah. God, if they're touted Tony at 100, he's got to be worth more than that, hasn't he? 120, 130.
I'm thinking that, but he only really had two seasons there? He had that kind of breakthrough where we won the league, and then the season after, and then he went to Fenerbahce, was it? Or was there somewhere else before that?
I think he was expecting Fergie to hang around a bit longer.
Yeah.
I was just thinking.
Everyone was desperately clinging to that. Yeah.
Maybe if it was I reckon 1 or 2 years earlier he'd gone, you're looking at upwards of 100. But I think that little kind of year in between just would have brought it down a little bit.
Yeah. Do you know one of my favourite things at the moment? My lad's getting stuck into playing FIFA or EAFC, whatever you call it now. And he keeps coming and asking me about the legends.
Okay.
It does make me feel old because the legends are people like Van Persie now, and I remember watching more than it being like
is he in there now?
older legends like Cantona, like an extra 10 years or whatever it was. I think he is. He definitely asked me about Bergkamp, and he definitely came down and asked about Van Persie, and I put some. Found a YouTube video, obviously Arsenal goals only. I never show any of the United goals. But there's one. I don't know if any of you guys remember. There was one particular that I'll always remember Van Persie, and I'll tell you his celebration first. He went and stood like on the advertising hoardings, like pumping his fists in the crowd.
Yeah,
it was a goal against Charlton at the Valley, and he just outside of the box, he meets the ball. It's got to be like it's chin. It's got to be like head height. And he meets it first time on the volley, rocket hits right into the corner. One hell of a goal, the technique of it.
Yeah, he did
and
score some belts.
I loved him because he was a lefty as well. And there's not, being a lefty myself, only a lefty as well. I think it's always quite good to see other people with that technical ability. But yeah, I absolutely loved him when he was at Arsenal and gutted. I binned a shirt. I had a really nice shirt of his, and I actually binned it.
You binned it?
Wow.
Yeah, I did. I contemplated like working out how to iron off the letters on the back, and I thought, nah, it's just going straight in the bin.
Was it just completely love? Was it love gone then completely? Like no, like do you think about it fondly, like the time there, or is it just looking back on it just pure almost hatred that you left and went to United?
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily hatred. It's just disappointment, and that was a really difficult time at Arsenal. I think if you look at the consecutive losses of Henry, then Fabregas, then Van Persie, it was like every 2 seasons we lost like our key influential player, and we went from having players that deserved to be captains to captains that were there by please don't leave captains.
Yeah,
and that kind of was the beginning. Well, I think that was right in the difficult times of Wenger as well. So
I think losing him to United as well was a real kick in the balls because United Arsenal was always a massive game at that time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it was sad to see.
Yeah, I think it was losing him to Ferguson though.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Well, I say United, but yeah, that's kind of what a lot of what happened in the glory days of United, isn't it? People didn't lose necessarily Man United as a club, but it's Sir Alex Ferguson, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they know just how successful he's likely to be, and well, he proved himself right, essentially.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you, Charlie, then quickly before we move on.
Yeah, for sure.
As a United fan, and I wanted to find out what your current opinion is of where they are and how the team is, the manager, things like this.
It's just
really.
Yeah, where do you start really with it? Like, it's kind of good that the sales kind of gone through. It's not gone through to the point we all maybe 6-7 months ago thought it could have gone through. Like, obviously where you had the Qatar bid and what's going on with now Jim Ratcliffe taking up 25% of the ownership. It sounds good that he's kind of taking the reins in what sounds like the football side of things, but I'm not too sure how that's going after reading today that we're possibly offering Martial a contract and stuff like this. So I'm not really sure if that's still him thinking about that. I don't. Not that I think that he's a horrendous player. I just don't think he's who we need right now. And I think there's 100% better options out there for us. We could maybe go out and get in January if we're looking for a backup to Højlund, who I think we need to start playing a lot more and play him for a lot more rather than sub him off in the, say, 60th, 70th minute as we have been sometimes doing. If we're going to spend that money on him, I think we kind of got to trust him a bit more and not rely on someone who's kind of been, to put it nicely, kind of dead wood for the last couple of seasons at the club.
Yeah. Well, so what about the manager then? Are you Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out? Are you see to the end of the season?
I mean, I would, if you'd asked me this probably like a month ago, I'd probably just say like, there's no need to kind of keep on yo-yoing a manager and out the door. I think that obviously he's got so many injuries to put up with that I don't think you can kind of ask what his style of play is right now, because we almost don't have one, because we don't have a standout 11. Like, if you look, I'm pretty sure we've changed like a player at least 1-2 changes every single week for the last however long. because of injuries and whatnot like that. So I think he's got to have time, and maybe once we've got the players back, then you can kind of reassess it. I don't think that, like I said, I don't think we have a style of football at the moment, because when he first joined last season, it's play out from the back, even though we couldn't do with De Gea and the errors he made, like such as the one at Brentford the first day of that season. But I just don't really know how we kind of like move on without any sort of real direction in the club itself. And that's the main thing for us at the moment. I know that everyone sometimes just kind of like laughs at us at crying at the Glazers and laugh at us and say it's our fault. We shouldn't be blaming them. It's like, it's just football. However, I think that we've got to get to a point where it is that, because if you look at the training ground, like Ronaldo said in his interview and stuff like that, it's just a horrendously run football club, even though we're supposedly the biggest in the world. So who knows where we go. I think at the moment, Ten Hag in until injuries are clear, and then we can reassess if it doesn't pick up.
Yeah. To be fair, I kind of echo. I say this quite a bit in that it's going to be another 2, 3, 4 transfer windows from Sir Jim taking over before you hopefully get some clear direction of where you've got start shaping an identity, and that whether that means Ten Hag's in or out, etc. I don't know, but I think getting some actual sporting director in and getting some proper structure in the club on the football side is at least the first step. And I'm not saying results be damned, because it's Man United, so there's a clamour for results all the time, but we'll just see, I guess.
Yeah, I don't actually want him to start playing McTominay more, because Eriksen's back and he's just drifted him back in the team. And he's I know it sounds ridiculous, but he's our top goal scorer, and keep him in. He's playing good football. I don't necessarily want to see Eriksen, who I haven't seen for 2-3 months, start playing in the lineup and him getting dropped.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I think McTominay. Sorry, just jump in. McTominay being one of the youth projects, his products, I should say. He gets it. I've seen a few interviews with him after games, and he's very honest, especially when it's not been a particularly good game. Mm-hmm. And he understands. He gets the United way, doesn't he? He's been there since a boy. He gets that, and that's so important. Look at the difficulties. I know that we'll probably come across it later, but look at the difficulties of Chelsea. They've probably got one of the best youth development projects in the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they just, instead of trusting and investing in those, they just invest in young talent that they're hoping is going to work.
Yeah.
And it just last night proved it, just falling flat on their face with it all. And it is difficult, but I think they need to stick with him. I think United would be foolish to let him go. I tell you what, if he was Spanish or Brazilian,
I agree.
They would love him, wouldn't they? It's because he's
although people hated Fred,
Scottish accent.
People hated Fred, and I actually, for one, I was a big fan of Fred. I think he worked hard.
He's the kind of player that
he played for the badge, and I actually really liked him. And he's a player I was sad when we let go.
Yeah. I think that's the thing where it is with United fans. I think at the moment is that you just want players who get it and who put in the effort and play for the badge, and just and if that means using the entire team of youth products and not think, get rid of the entirety of the first 11, then fine, and suffer from that. But I think that's why, like, people, McTominay, and you mentioned Fred, and dare I say it, Jack, Bruno Fernandes, actually get it,
Bruno.
Yeah, but just Bruno's one of them players who you'd love to play on your team. Like you want him on your team, but he's against you. He's
I said this, and Jack just disagrees.
Yeah, if he plays for Arsenal, Jack loves him. But against him, obviously hates him. He gets over anyone. Not anyone. He gets over Havertz. He gets over the majority of it. I'd say majority of your midfield, bar Odegaard.
El Nelly gets him before him, mate. Don't worry about that.
Mate, go on now. Let's not start this.
So many people have commented to me about our little back and forth about Bruno as well, by the way.
I got a lot, yeah. Oh, no, but he's a good example. He gets it. He comes out. I've said this before and you disagree. He is professional in terms of his attitude is a problem sometimes, but he's not like there's a difference between unprofessional and undisciplined, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just think he's he kind of gets it. He puts the effort in. So
I think they're going back to what
he's someone
Charlie
we
just
keep.
said about players and what they do and how they behave. I think all fans really want to see is players playing in the shirt, just giving it their all, just for the badge, for the club. That's all they care about. Ultimately, I mean, of course, it's a results game, but when you go and watch your team, you're at your proudest when you know everyone's doing everything they can, win, lose, or draw, and they leave it all on the pitch. I think that's the most important thing for fans. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And when you get freeloaders and people who are just there for the money and can't be bothered, then you just, it gets really, really frustrating. I'm talking from experience here.
One thing I always say I don't know if I mentioned it on here before, but one thing I always mention to because I coach my lads' football team, we've had a session tonight and it's kind of an opportunity to reset. And one of the key things that we always talk about is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be the best team. If you look back in all of those underdog stories, Wigan beating City in that final those years ago. I think that was 2013, the year Ethan was born, actually, funny enough, I remember it. But that's a prime example of an underdog doing it, being together, understanding that it's a team game. And it's just it's such a simple but clever take on how to think about it.
Yeah.
And you're right, you don't want those freeloaders in your team. And I think United have got a bit of historics with that. I think if you look back over the years, some of the players you brought in, I know Zlatan did quite well for you, but you kind of chased the name.
Yeah.
And hoped that they were going to be the catalyst to everything else, but they've just let the foundations go. I know a lot of the fan base, I know we do quite United heavy here, but I know a lot of the fan base that I know lost all respect for Ten Hag the way that he disrespected Ronaldo and the way that he treated him. And I know that a lot of those are your typical fans that just absolutely loved Ronaldo and worship the ground he walked on. But in a way, it makes sense. I know you've got to understand who's bigger, the club or the player, but he's a generational talent. I know, granted, there's two of them in this particular generation, him and Messi, but the way that was all handled, he's lost a lot of credibility from that. You could still have a player like that if you used him right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I actually think it's the opposite. I think he gained a lot of credibility with that. I think in general, across the media, across the club, I think he gained a lot of credibility in how he handled it. I think basically most people, unless you're a diehard Ronaldo fan, you look at it and go, he's just being stroppy kind of thing, and no player's bigger than the club. Like you were saying, etc. And he was firm.
I almost, at the time,
Ronaldo was a bit silly.
Yeah, at the time, I almost thought that it was almost a back burner, the actual Ten Hag kind of incident with him, to try and get out and talk about the club and talk about how poorly it was run. I think that obviously the Erik Ten Hag incidents and what was happening was a big part of it. But I think the main part of it, he wanted to kind of get to the United fans, but he knew adored him, and he did also love them to the point where he obviously came back to kind of show how the club was getting run behind the scenes. I think it was almost a green light, that the Ten Hag incident, to be able to allow him to go out and go on that, say, Piers Morgan show and do that interview and talk about the club. I don't think necessarily if it was just that and it was back at the club and Manchester United was run fantastically, I think that interview probably never happens, even with the Ten Hag incident. I think that just kind of acted as I think that acted as a green light to kind of go out and go, this is what's wrong with the club, this is why I'm leaving. Yes, this happened, but there's everything you need to know about how poorly it's run here at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, back to what you were saying quickly, Ben. Sorry, I know we need to move on, but I was going to say, as an example to what you were saying about a team like Newcastle last season. Yeah. As an example, they didn't have the best squad. I know other people's faltered, but they got to where they were by working really hard and for the badge, and their team dynamic, their team work ethic is what got them in the top four last season. Not necessarily their squad ability.
Yeah, definitely. There's stories all over the place. So you look at West Ham winning the Europa League. You look at Leicester winning the Premier League, even going far as back as Blackburn winning the league.
Yeah,
It's all to do with the way that those teams were managed. Even when we got promoted with Warnock, he'll tell you straight out if you read his book. He didn't have the best team at all. But the way that they set up and the passion that they had and the way that they played and what they believed in got them over the line. And so often you see that, and and I think that's kind of the holy grail, though, isn't it? That's what everyone's looking for, to get that. And how do you get that? Because there are those success stories throughout history that you see that just clicks, and there's a certain chain of events that happen in order to get that going.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso to the end of the season.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, right. If there's anybody that hasn't watched Ted Lasso,
you need to
watch it.
Oh, get out and watch it.
You need to watch it.
You need to.
Oh, you've not watched it?
No, so I said get out and watch it. I said, yeah, get out and watch it. I think it's one of the best football shows I think I've ever seen. Honestly, it's so good.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is that it's so much more than football as well.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
It's
a kind
side
of
stories.
Do the right thing kind of story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Be a good person story, I think is really, really what it's about.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got super sidetracked there, but it's a real good insight into to your mindset with United, and I have to echo you with the whole watching live football. It's something that I thrive on and can't wait to do every time. It's really important as well, and long may it continue. Long may us enjoy it while we can, for sure. What I wanted to do, Charlie, is learn a bit more about your Man v Fact story. So, do you want to give us an idea of why you're doing it? What made you start it up in the first place? Let's start there, shall we?
So, I just I used to play a lot of Sunday League, like not a good standard at all, really. I think it was like Division 6 Sunday Hayward League, and I think that throughout my life I'd kind of played at a fairly decent standard of football, but I kind of, with injuries and stuff, which I might go into later on down the line today, what kind of helped me get into my roles that I'm at the moment in a weird way. I was playing after this. It must have been about 18, 19 years old. And I was just like, I can't even really do it in this league now. I'm just like, I'm 18, 19 years old, and I'm struggling to play against these guys who are probably like 25, 30, hungover, probably had like a full English for breakfast. And I'm like, I'm sat here and I'm just like, I should be 18, 19, the whippy kid they have to struggle playing against, but I'm not, because of the size I was at the time, and I was kind of like 18, 19 stone. And I was just like, obviously was always thinking about stuff like this. I knew this was in the pipeline, and then finally it kind of came about slowly. And you got like Dan Lloyd's first couple of sessions, which he put on like not outside of Man v Fact. I can't remember where we even
say, because you were an OG, right? You were there at the inception of the Bournemouth League.
Yeah, so I've had a few like ins and outs of Bournemouth. Nothing through wanting to leave a club. More of the student side of it, and the funding is the only thing I kind of dropped out. And then obviously when Poole happened, I went closer to there. But yeah, kind of around the first couple of weeks, I know that I didn't go to the first one ever, which he organised. I think it was like just at some sort of park in Bournemouth, but
Merritt Park.
Yeah, that's it. And then we kind of had another small kind of kick around, and then it finally just came into fruition, really. And I remember that we were on the OG Orange team before it kind of got folded and then remade this season. And I just wanted to go kind of back to what I was previously, and not of the standard of football, not the standard of football I'd ever get there again, but being able to enjoy playing, because I just didn't enjoy playing was the issue. I was just kind of like stuck to playing at, I don't know, like a rec with my mates and just having a kick around there rather than playing like a competitive game of football. Even line aside, it was just me kicking a ball against a goalkeeper mate or something like that, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. So I kind of went to join this just to drop some timber, and kind of have done. I've done it slowly and steadily, and I think that work and uni commitments and stuff haven't helped that. I think that I could have dropped a lot more than I have done, but I think it's come down to about 13 kg since I've started, which isn't horrendous. So I've dropped 13 kg from when I first ever joined a Man v Facts, say 2 years ago. So it's going to be. I want it to be a lot steadier.
Out, mate.
Yeah, I want it to be a lot steadier and
2 stone, isn't it?
and quicker over this next, say, 6 months leading into the wedding. But I think that because I want to be like kind of like tip top for that, and then obviously I've got another holiday with some mates in September. Yeah, nice. I want to get back down there properly. By then.
Yeah, so you've actually got like a specific date as such in mind, haven't you? Then,
yeah.
Well, some people say, "Oh, I just want to get down in the future." You've got like a target.
Yeah, I've got a target weight for a target date for that. But I think that my target weight for the long run will hopefully slowly, steadily happen. I think that beforehand I've kind of got caught up with wanting to lose weight and just going all out on different things, which weren't, I wouldn't say stupid ways to lose weight, but were definitely Not sustainable, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like, so one of the best times was between like the first ever lockdown, if you remember, because they closed, like, not that it was helped that much, but they closed everything, didn't they? Even like all takeaways, all shops, or whatever. So it's just pure. Yeah. It's just pure. I couldn't get any of that. There's nothing horrendous being ordered. The only things that were really open were like kind of like family run shops near me anyway. So I was kind of getting deliveries from the local butchers, and then we had like a vegetable box type thing. Like a woman did that, and we had a drop off stuff gradually all week, and it just worked. To be fair, like I went from 22 stone to 17 in about I think it was about 8 months, to be honest with you. I started in October and I was there for my birthday, and it was just mental, like the weight I dropped between that time. And then around my birthday, I just kind of I was like, I want to get back onto it. Had my birthday, and I just fell off the handle. I think it was just, I have a very addictive personality, and I think that a lot of people who have this sort of weight loss journey are affected in many ways other than just weight when it comes to it. And again, something I might talk about later, but especially for me when I was younger was gambling. And addictive personality for me is everything. If I do something consistently in a routine, I want to do it, and that's me. So whether that's good or bad, it's kind of there. And unfortunately, after my birthday, I fell into quite a bad routine, and then just kind of gained all that weight back in probably about 2 months. So I was kind of all that hard work over that 8 month period, where I was so not ridiculously happy at the time, because obviously I was putting my hard work in, like everything I worked for that 8 months, due to that kind of addictive personality that it's so hard to get rid of. I just ruined it in 2 months, and I think that now that's why I want to do it slowly, at a steady pace, and kind of like a nice kind of routine which falls in line with not making it addictive but comfortable.
Yeah Fair play, mate.
Yeah So I was going to have a quick question, because have you always been in the pool league, or was there a point where you had a break? Because I know you had a break from the Bournemouth league.
So
and you came back recently.
I don't think I've had necessarily a break from pool, apart from like little injuries here and there. I think I've been at pool since it's created. Sorry, so it originally was at like Carter School, and I always refused to go across there because I just hated that pitch, to be honest with you. Like, I wasn't a fan of the goals.
It was awful.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the goals or the surface or anything like that. So went there, I just stayed at Bournemouth. I was happy where I was. Like, I like the pitches down because it's essentially Little Down, really, isn't it? It's just a tiny bit smaller. I just didn't want to play on Carter. So originally stayed there at Bournemouth, but finally they changed over and started playing at the county ground.
That's right.
In Hamworthy. So then it kind of made me, I was like, well, it's closer. I like the pitch now. So and at the time I couldn't afford the 2 memberships. Otherwise I would have stayed at Bournemouth. So then I kind of
second, Charlie, Carter School is next door to Hamworthy. You can literally see the pitch from the pitch.
I know.
It's much closer.
It's closer now, and I like the pitches. The pitches for me are a big point of it. It's cool. I can't. Hence the reason when you guys sometimes go and play at Pelham's, I promise you now, unfortunately, I'm never going to put my thumb up for it. I just can't. I can't get on with the pitches. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just kind of that. It's just, or like, like Ashdown. Do you ever play at Ashdown? I had a mate who used to. It's like sand, isn't it? It's like gritted. If you fall over, you need a skin graft or something. Like,
I grew up playing football on that. You're lucky if you grew up playing in 3G. I grew up playing football on sand.
Yeah.
Feel sorry for Ben.
Yeah, think about me.
Rainbows were black and white when he was growing
up. Red Gra we used to play on with them really thick, hard mitre plastic footballs on a cold winter's day. Get when them smacked against you, know about it.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind trying to play with one of the 60s footballs, leather footballs. Just
it had one of those kind of clay pitches out the back of Dean Court, when the stadium was facing the other way. They used to have like a little train track running the outside, and then also like little goals and those set up. I remember doing some like summer camps over there, and they had that as well.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Charlie.
No. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So I kind of just dropped Bournemouth just because of the location, really, and I didn't really have enough to cover the 2 memberships. So I was just doing Poole, and I remember it was good there. It's not competitive. It's not as competitive as, say, obviously Bournemouth is, because I think that especially the personalities that you have within that is kind of just a completely different kettle of fish. Like you've got say at Poole, it's completely weight loss. Like if you look at some of the people there, everyone's just focusing fully on the weight. Like you've got, I don't know if he listens to the podcast, but hopefully he does. You've got James Green. He's one of their probably their biggest success story. To be honest with you, he's hit his maintenance, and if you look at the comparison photos if you, I don't know if you've seen them, like it is just immense. And they're all like that.
I didn't realise he was at maintenance now as well.
I believe he is. Yeah. So that's that. And then obviously you've got Mark. I know he does both, but another lad who's there kind of like week in, week out at Poole when his ankle allows him to.
Yeah, bless him.
But
there's a few that moved over. Is Warren still there? Because Warren went over, didn't he? And Steve went over.
Yeah, so was has left. I think that he kind of just decided it wasn't really for him. Like similar to me, really. Like where we hadn't really seen the exact like the achievements we wanted to, really. And I think that he kind of just then went and just continued to do his Sunday football and what he does with that, because he was enjoying it. I saw him the other day I say the other day, it was like about a month ago in the shop, and he was talking about it. And I really missed playing football with him. He's a good lad.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good.
Was that Warren? Sorry,
yeah,
I think I might miss that.
Yes,
so
Warren.
he's not doing Poole anymore.
No, he stopped doing Poole now.
That's a shame.
Yeah. And I
like Warren. He's a good lad.
I think Steve's still going. I haven't seen him in a while, but I haven't heard anything that he's dropped out. But he might have just been injured. But he was definitely there before the new year. But
yeah. Is there any other noticeable differences between the two, Charlie? You say that it's a little less competitive on the pitch than ours.
Yeah, it's just, and I think, and again, I don't think that's anything on the lads' quality. I think it's just, it is literally, I think it's just a mentality thing. And I don't know if we've been brought up a bit differently with the Bournemouth lot, with all the dramas and the almost the differences, what's happening in the chats and stuff like that. I don't know if that's kind of
I think it's created from the first season, wasn't it? I think I put it down to that.
What was it? Was it Whites when they weighed in before the game? It was absolute carnage. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. And then you had
shithousery to the max.
Yeah, sauna gate and stuff like that. It's just fantastic. I do love the Bournemouth mentality, and that's kind of the reason why after a couple of months doing just Poole, when I then kind of like got enough of the student funds recovered, I was able to rejoin and do both, which is really good for me as well when it comes to losing weight. Thank you, mate.
Yeah. Oh, I am extra thankful.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, I'm kind of just like a one-trick pony. Like I can just
not at all. Not at all.
Got a bit of a powerful shot. That's it.
But even if you were, that trick is damn good.
Yeah,
so it doesn't
definitely.
matter.
Mate, you're so quick as well. I don't think you appreciate
Yeah,
how
really deceptive.
You're a big, tall lad, and you are so quick. It's ridiculous.
I think,
especially 11s. I love playing with you.
I think it's just like someone said earlier, you don't feel it.
Recently.
Say again, Josh.
Yeah. My mate John, when he joined the league recently, I think we did an 11s with you, Charlie. I think it was then. I can't remember. It might have just been a little down, but he was 1-on-1 for you, and you knocked it past him. And I know John is very quick. Yeah, he's strong and a powerful guy, and he just could not keep up with you. You had the ball at your feet, and he's sprinting full pelt, and he's like, can't keep up with you. And he turned around to me after he's going, "Where the hell did that come from? I've never seen anything like it."
There's a few speed. I'm sure we've spoken about it before. There's a few sneaky speed demons. Adam White is one as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last 11s, he dealt with Louis like no.
Yeah, he did. Louis was through and goal at one point.
Unreal.
He tracked back and got to him.
That's the thing. Us big lads, we just pick up a bit of momentum and we're off. Once we just hit a certain speed. But the one
like a fucking freight train coming at you.
Yeah,
you just can't stop.
I think one of my biggest achievements, to be fair, we were playing at Poole, and I think I'd lost it. This was before I maybe gained some Christmas weight. But do you know Jim from Poole? He plays with us on Tuesday a few times. Yeah, there was one time where I was just kind of like, he still beat me to a thing, but I gave him a good run in for it across up the line, and I just turned to him. I was like, because we probably went about 40, 50 yards, and we're kind of like neck and neck. Then he kind of pushed on finally with his ridiculous fitness that he seems to have, and I clearly don't have. But he kind of looked back and was like, "Yeah, I'd be worried for a second there." It was just so that's
like
quite good.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he's so quick. His players like that who are just who kind of show how important it is to have that kind of competitive edge in Man v Fat. Because if a bunch of me's, it would be terrible. It'd be terrible.
Well, I think it's quite. You've got to have a happy medium, haven't you? I mean, because ultimately football is a competitive game, and you've got to have a level of competitiveness about it to. For people to want to win the game. But we all know it's a weight loss league, and we all are trying our best to lose the weight and score the extra goals, etc. But you still want to have that competitive edge on the game. So, if you can get a happy balance between it, and I think we're in a good place, to be fair, with the league. I think most teams,
I do too.
Are fairly evenly balanced now. It seems to be anyway. The on pitch games are always pretty close. And most games, I would say, are now being won on weight loss. So, it's kind of a nice happy balance. I mean, but yeah, absolutely. The first couple of seasons, I think that was probably to do with a lack of a consistency in the coaching role. We had a few various people come in. So it was kind of a bit of a free for all, and the rules were always up for interpretation by certain people.
Jack scoring from corners.
that was one of the first games, I think. Brilliant. But
I think
so
one of the key things with it to remember. Sorry, Ben. One of the key things to remember is that playing football on a Friday night, you're not just going to lose weight just playing football on a Friday night.
God,
that's amazing.
What you do, it took me a little while. Bizarrely, when I think back now, it took me a little while to kind of comprehend that. What it actually is the Friday night is your treat at the end of the week for the hard week that you've had.
Yeah.
Working hard to eat well and exercise and do all the right things you should. The Friday night is the proverbial icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's that extra. It's that extra. It's you then go, I've worked really hard this week. I've lost X amount. I've earned this amount of goals. Now I'm going to either be a hero one end like Ryan in goal, or be a hero the other end like Charlie smashing one in. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a real key thing, and we had that conversation in the Purples recently because we spoke about increasing the numbers. It wasn't anybody was disappointed. It was more that like, how is the game time going to be affected about that, and how does this all change? And it's conversations that I know you and I have had. Ben, we're on the same team. But also things that kind of gone through my head. I'm thinking, driving all this way over from Parkstone to play 15 minutes of football. What a fucking waste of time. But actually, you're not. If you want to play football, and this is kind of like the corporate line you get from Steve, and as it sounds, it is as brutal as it is. But if you're only there to play football, you can do that a lot cheaper somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want people to think, that's a horrible way to think, or fuck it, I will go somewhere else. But I don't think we have anybody like that anymore.
No.
But we definitely had a stage of people that have developed like I have, that have moved away from thinking, oh, it's only football, to understanding what it actually is. And when you look at what you pay each month, I was getting a bit miffed, thinking, oh, I'm spending this much money a month, and I'm not really. But then what you're actually paying for is Steve's time, the pitch hire, and you're paying to help yourself and to protect your future
and the
by
community.
looking after your health.
It's all about the community. It's like we spoke about last week, didn't we? And we always do. It's about the community. It's about us all being in a boat. It's all helping each other and assisting each other along our journeys. And it's because we're collectively all on a similar journey that we don't kind of fall by the wayside and go back to old habits. We urge each other and we help each other on, and that's such a massive part of it. And that's why I think it's as successful as it is ultimately, because there is that camaraderie and that sort of group support. It's like therapy. It totally is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Man v Fat's the name above the door, but we're the guys that really run that league, if that makes sense.
Course.
It's only as good as the effort we put into it.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, I agree.
And then Steve is kind of like the facilitator, and the harder we work, the easier it becomes for Steve, which is in turn because he's worked hard, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's really good. It's really important. And I'm just so proud of the community and of what we do, and proud to also have another community right on our doorstep in terms of the pool guys. That a lot of us blend together and play in both, but also we're able to have friendlies with them on the 11 side of things that majority of the time stay competitive and friendly. Do you know what I mean? And that's really, really good. That's really, really important. I'm waffling a little bit. If that's all right with that at the moment, Charlie, what I wanted to ask you about is your role outside of kind of Man v Fat and what you get up to for work, and you mentioned being a student a couple of times. What else do you do, mate? What is it you're up to?
Yeah, well, honestly, mate, it sounds like when I just talk about what I do, it feels like I actually don't do much. But when I kind of like talk about and say everything I do, a lot of people ask me how I have all the time to do everything. But yeah,
funny,
so
we caught up with your boss as well, and he said exactly the same.
so yeah, I'm obviously a student up at Solent. I'm in my final year there now. So I've done 4 years. I did a foundation year because I was not clever enough to just get in on merit. I had to do a foundation and show that I could do it, which I've obviously passed, and then I've now done everything up to my final year. It's my this year. Just decided what I'm doing. I am working for Southampton at the moment. I'm currently doing like different things for their school camp kind of program thing they have on. So just going into schools and delivering like football sessions for kind of like all different age ranges and different talents and different standard of football really, and then kind of after school clubs as well. Nice. And then I coach a women's team up in Southampton as well, towards Eastleigh way. It's called FC Stoneham Ladies. We definitely don't want to get associated with Eastleigh, who is kind of our rivals. But and then I also do some stuff outside. So I do my own one-on-one kind of like lessons with different people. I've got some clients who kind of take that up with me on Poole on the weekends, and obviously then I do all the Man v Fat stuff as well. So. Yeah, quite a lot of football.
Then you're a student then at Solent. What's your course? What is it you're studying?
So yeah, it's fully just called football studies. It's kind of like everything you can think about. Yeah, that's kind of what people say to me when I say I'm on it. It's just like, what do you do? Just go and have a book, have a kick around and do whatever. But it's kind of like everything about football. It's like everything you can think of, like the business side of it, like the globalization of the game.
Yeah, fair play.
Kind of like the politics, and then kind of like development as well, and how to like maybe develop, like if you want to go into stuff like what maybe even what Jordan's doing within the community, stuff like that, and kind of how to run those sort of sessions.
So what's your long-term goal coming out of it then? What do you hope to go into?
Yeah, so I want to kind of go into coaching. Like, obviously, you look at how difficult it is nowadays to get into that role with just on how difficult it is to get on the courses. Like, I've currently been waiting to get on my B license for the last year and a half. I was waiting to get on my C license for years after doing my level 1, and it's just really a waiting game. Like, but what a lot of people don't do, which I'm quite thankful I have been able to and almost been lucky enough to do, is get that experience outside of everything else I do, like normal work and university, and getting these kind of like coaching skills about me, just that hopefully that when these courses come about, I have something over. I know for the next person on my course. Really, I know that we're all friends. We're all friends at the moment, but something that certainly I've realised this year, we're competition. As soon as we finish, like, it goes from you're my mate to you're possibly the person who's going to be across the table at an interview. So so it's obviously a big commitment, and when you look at managers at the moment just kind of getting jobs who are ex-professionals, you almost like do stand a chance, but it's very difficult.
Just because you're a good player doesn't mean you're going to be a good manager. Let's all look at Wayne Rooney.
Look at Rooney.
Frank Lampard.
It's something I certainly want to do.
There's plenty of them.
It's something I've always wanted to do, and I said something always I've wanted to do. Originally, I wanted to be a PE teacher, and I was happy with playing football at a certain standard. But as I mentioned earlier, I kind of, my injury, not that I would have been any good. I'm not just going to sit and say whatever people who say I had a knee injury that stopped me from becoming a pro. I was a very substandard player playing at like Hammer United reserves, for example. It was just
so
kind
what was
of
the injury?
football.
What stopped it?
So I was quite unfortunate with my Hammer United career. So I originally was playing just for a lower league team, kind of like in around Bournemouth and Poole, and then I got the opportunity to kind of like train for a club who at the time was like Dorset Premier League, which is it's not amazing, but it's like a good standard of football. And I remember I was quite proud of myself getting in there, and a lot of my friends at college were kind of like almost like it's not that good because they were playing at like Dorch and Bridport and Portland, and one of my mates currently playing at, I think he's currently playing at Eastleigh, Tom Blair.
Right.
All of them were playing at like a decent standard, so I was like, oh yeah, I've kind of got this role at Hammer, and we're like, all right, that's fair enough. And I was like, okay, but it's not that good then, apparently, for you guys. But it was a big, it was a big thing for me at the time. And on my first, I got subbed on in the 60th minute, and I was like, oh, you go, this is quite cool. And then the floodlights turned off. I was like, oh shit! Like, it's a big moment. We were playing Bournemouth Poppies. I was coming on for my first game in a reserve shirt, and literally probably about 2 minutes after I've come on, the floodlights had turned off. Couldn't get them back on at all.
Sounds
Charlotte
like
come down. Charlotte come down to watch.
Little down.
And that was it.
Yeah, and Slades as well. Yeah,
Slades had done that. Yeah, and we just couldn't get back on, and I was gutted. I was like, oh my god, because it's almost everything in the back of your mind, thinking like, oh, this could not that it's a thing, but like you never know when you're going to play again, do you? Like realistically, like you've been doing all right in training, like you're getting subbed on the 60th minute anyway. Game gets replayed a couple of days later, and before Hammerby had the nice county ground Astro they have now, they had like this horrible kind of boggy grass pitch. And after getting subbed on about 5 minutes, I've just kind of like turned to do something. I've injured myself. I didn't really know what I'd done. Got subbed back off after 5 minutes of my second attempt at the debut. And kind of went across and was kind of sat in the shower for a moment and what the fuck I'd done. And then, it turns out I'd done my ACL. I'd ripped my meniscus. Fully done me. I was out for probably playing football wise. I didn't go back for about 22 months. I'd like fully knocked it on my head with Handwave. I didn't do anything. That was literally the last time. I didn't even train with him again. I was just heartbroken. I don't think I went to the sport
what age were you at this point?
For long. 16, 17. Yeah, 16. It would have been 16 because my first year at college. Well, so 16, I was just like, kind of not fell out of love with the game. I still loved it, but just couldn't play it. And it's just like, what do you do at that point when that's everything you kind of did? So couldn't really do that. And then kind of just like I was saying, playing it like when I kind of came back into wanting to play at that time of my life, it was 22 months of not doing anything. Like I wasn't running, I wasn't walking, I was just sat kind of like playing FIFA and I was just being a teenager really. But it's a teenager without the outdoorsy like life. So just kind of got massive. Just basically just kind of like put on weight, and then that's where obviously we kind of do the full circle. Do full circle, and that's where, as I was speaking about earlier, you kind of I decided to join Man v Fat, but it kind of in the long run, which I kind of am getting to the story of, is I wouldn't have been in this position as a coach or wanting to do what I'm doing if it wasn't for that injury. And obviously I wasn't going to get paid for being a player ever at the standard I was, but now there's a real chance that I could make a career out of what I'm doing. So
that's
it's almost philosophical, it's almost very good that of this injury I've kind of used it as a stepping stone to kind of create a new, almost a new future into football, which I wanted to always do, but I wasn't sure how to get there. So it kind of pushed me into this kind of area of the game. So yeah, really good, and I'm happy I'm here now.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's brilliant, mate.
That's awesome, mate. I appreciate you opening up about that, and it's a story that you often hear a lot about, how injuries scarper players that could have been hot prospects, but also players that kind of feed the rest of the pyramid in terms of that grass level kind of football as well. So yeah, it's horrible. It's a similar story. It's one of those stories that you hear, especially with knees, but it's also similar to the story of people getting to a point where they've got trials or doing really well as a youngster and then just getting dropped like a stone and left behind. I know a lot of teams do a lot of work around that sort of thing now to support them and provide that kind of after football support and whatever. And it's amazing how many players you hear now that got dropped by this team but still ended up being a professional footballer, or got dropped by this team and let go. I think Nketiah is an example. He got let go by Chelsea because he was too small and too slow, and inevitably went on to a different academy that believed him in and gave him the opportunity. And I think Rice similar. I think Rice got released the same week as Nketiah or something by Chelsea.
Really?
And it gives you an idea of
because he's best mates with Mason Mount, and they were at
Chelsea together. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it is. It's very sad, mate. But their loss is certainly our gain for knowing you, but also being able to play football with you as well, mate. We all thoroughly enjoy it. So thank you for opening up and sharing that story.
You've got a lot of things like this to kind of thank for that, and the Man v Fat and all these sort of programs are a major catalyst for helping people through that. And it's also how I met your brother. Realistically, Jack, is when I was doing the community trust stuff at Bournemouth. So after that, obviously, like I was saying, I was struggling to kind of get back into football. They had like a mental health kind of five-a-side thing. Which I believe Jordan ran at the time on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and that was a big help in getting back into playing football. And obviously, like stuff like this, Man v Fat is also a massive reason why people can just kind of like have those injuries and have that kind of setbacks and come back into it. And it's quite nice that we've got these kind of things to do.
Yeah,
definitely. And with your experience in what you're learning at university, somewhere like the Community Trust at AFC Bournemouth is somewhere that you may very well find yourself supporting and working and doing something like that, especially now when there's so much more emphasis in a club, especially when they're in the Premier League, around what they should be doing and what they need to be doing in the community and things like that. It really makes a difference. And I'm sure you heard Jordan's podcast that he's so very lucky to do what he does and loves what he does. I think it's so rewarding if you can find a career in something that you love doing. It's definitely worth keeping hold of.
That's it. He speaks so highly of it, and you can see he loves it. Yeah,
absolutely. Moving on, I know that we've waffled on for some time. I know that Josh and Ben, I've kind of lost a little bit of interest, I'm not going to lie, but Josh and Ben are very keen on their It's because I'm shit at it, mate.
No, you got to stick with it. You're only halfway through the season, mate.
There's a long way. There's a long way to go.
There's a long way.
We're obviously talking about fantasy football, and I go onto it each week, and I think, oh, fuck's sake, I'm this far behind. And then the next week, I think, oh, I've had a good week. And I look what everybody else is having. I'm like, no, everybody else has had a better week.
Well, that's because everyone's got similar sort of players. That's what happens. It'll be interesting when people play wildcards because then ultimately different player combinations come into action. But at this point, it's like at the end of the season when all the teams are practically the same because all the best players are in the same teams. So stick with it, mate. It's fine. You've got wild cards coming up, so teams will start to change. Players are going out into AFCON and the Asia Cup, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it will all change up a little bit, and there will be some weird results coming in there. So keep going. I just want to jump in quickly with one thing before we go into FBL, because I went to a family do this weekend, and I'm trying to encourage my cousin to join up with Man v Fat, and he listened to a few of the pods, but he kind of fell away from it. So he told me he would definitely listen if I mentioned him, because he lives up in Colchester, and I want to encourage him to go and join Colchester Man v Fat. He said there wasn't one there, and I said there is. I looked it up. I've sent him the link, and I said I'd mention it on the podcast. And anyone else up in Colchester, get yourself down there. I think it's actually at the Colchester ground, so it's quite a good place to go and do it.
Oh, nice.
But Nick Bailey is a staunch Aston Villa fan, as are the rest of my mother's side of the family. All happy. They're all happy as pigs in proverbial at the moment because of the way that their club's going. But get your ass down there, Nick. Get yourself signed up and lose a bit of weight. He needs to, because he had a heart attack, and he's only 30. He's now 41, but he had a heart attack when he was about 37, 36, 37.
Bless him.
Wow.
So yes, he needs to. Yeah, I mean he's okay. He's better now, but yes. So there you go. Just a quick shout out to Nick. Get yourself sorted, mate.
Do it, Nick. You can't be any worse than
exactly.
Yeah,
definitely.
So if sorry, mate. If you're up for it, I think we'll skip the football chat. There's a few transfer bits and pieces going on, but nothing that's really catching the imagination at the moment. Obviously, Chelsea in the mud last night. I thoroughly enjoyed watching them lose to Middlesbrough, and I'm currently watching
Middlesbrough
in
Fulham.
the background.
Yeah. Middlesbrough Fulham.
Liverpool turn it around, don't they?
Liverpool have just scored to make it 2-1. Yeah, they got a jammy deflection goal, and Cody Gakpo, as I'm talking on my stream anyway, he's just scored. So,
well, there's two legs. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Let's get stuck into this FPL bollocks.
Come on. It's a difficult time for us, Josh. Lead us through. Show us the way.
Come on, Josh. Show me the
I
light.
don't really know what the way is. Obviously, because of AFCON and Asia Cup, and an astonishing amount of injuries to some quite popular players in the FPL community, it's looking like a bit of a mess, isn't it?
Half
really,
my
at
team
the moment.
done.
I just looked at my team. I've got 3 of them red flagged who definitely won't play. One of whom, additionally, Bowen, who is very unlikely to play. Then I have Zinchenko and Taylor, who are both flagged. I'm not sure about Zinchenko or Taylor, really, whether they're going to play or not.
He's got a shoulder injury.
Even if they do, they ain't
going to score nothing.
I'm still kind of in trouble, because then I have people like Lascelles, who doesn't play a single minute now.
This is all sounding very similar.
What do you do? Archer, who's been dropped, and they brought someone in, so he's unlikely to play.
Yeah.
So what do I do?
Is it too early for a wild card?
See, this
is the thing. I was just about to say. I believe it is because
there we go.
I think you'll find that if you are going to use -4s, -8s, things like that to sort your team out, now is a good week to do it, because that you will be doing the same as quite a lot of the community who will be looking at all costs to avoid using their wildcard right now. And I'll explain a little bit why in a second, but generally speaking, if you're going to take hits in that, you want to be doing it at the same time as others to try and neutralize the difference it makes in the points. I would say. Now, obviously not everyone's going to do that. You'll be some people, but the idea then is you hope that the people you buy in are going to give you those points back in the next couple of weeks, etc. As we come to the second half of the season, so there will be double game weeks. There's always one in game week 37, which is the penultimate game week. There's always one in game week 34.
Yep.
There's always a blank in game week 29. They're all because of Carabao and FA Cup fixtures. We don't, however, know which fixtures are going to be going into these blanks and doubles, etc. at the moment because we don't know where we are in the cup.
Quite.
Hopefully,
But,
Man City
also
versus
a-
a shitty or something. I don't want to. I want a Haaland triple captain on there.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. So in terms of fixtures we do already know need being arranged, Man City, because of the Club World Cup, have a game against Brentford to rearrange. Latest prediction for that is game week 25, so only a few away. Another one, Bournemouth versus Luton. Could go anywhere, really, if there's a free midweek, but it's not likely until after game week 26 because Liverpool have to play Luton potentially in a different week because it seems at the moment, based on what we were just saying, that they are going to go through in the Carabao Cup.
Right.
So, game week 26, teams making it to the Carabao Cup final will blank, plus their opponents. So, in that week, let's just say, hypothetically, Chelsea and Liverpool both go through in the Carabao Cup. So Chelsea versus Tottenham will not be on. Liverpool versus Luton won't be on, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So then Liverpool's game will probably get rearranged, and that will probably come into game week 25 with Man City's game. So Man City and Liverpool could, in theory, double in game week 25, but then blank in game week 26. Yeah. So that's why using your chips like wildcard and free hit and bench boost and all that is important to hold on to them because it's the points you gain in using them around these weeks to navigate them far outweighs the negative impact of taking -4s and -8s this week, as an example. So I will just say, though, quickly, if you can, try to minimize it this week and maybe think about it next week because game week 22, because it's 23 or so days away, 22 days away, because there's a small break, there will be loads more info about Carabao Cup, so you'll know who's definitely gone through, FA Cup, blanks and doubles as well, so you can plan a bit better. So you know that, hypothetically, Spurs might be blanking in 1 week where you didn't think they were before, etc. So I have changed my tact slightly, as I said, from last week where I was going to make massive loads of changes to making the necessary but minimal changes this week.
Okay.
Rather
just
than
to cover,
going
just
all
so
out
you've got
and
a
making
squad
loads.
out on the pitch.
Yeah, to cover exactly, and then think about it next week. That's where I'm going. Who you bring in? I don't know what you guys think. I mean,
well, I think I'm going to do it slowly. I'm going to do it slowly. I'm just going to. I'm not. I don't think I'll take a hit. I think that I've got so many players gone to AFCON. I've got that. I've got Semenyo. He's gone. I've got. Is it Aguard for West Ham? I've got he's gone. Yeah. I've got some other players in there. I can't remember. I'll have to have a look later, but. I think I've got like 5 players
must
out.
have Salah or Son. Or
Salah's obviously gone. There's Trent's out.
Sounds
obviously.
Like
it's a carnage of a week.
Paquetá's out as well, isn't he, for 8 weeks? They reckon.
Oh God.
Yeah. He's
Jared
gone.
Bowen for 3 weeks. Hopefully he's out just past the Bournemouth game, which is the 1st of February, and then he don't give a shit. It'd be quite good
yeah.
he doesn't play against Bournemouth. Me and my brother are going to that on a Thursday night, so it should be nice.
Formations. Can you play 5-2-3?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I don't
think
it doesn't
you
sound
can.
like
Yes, you can.
Can you?
Yes,
Can
you
you?
can.
You can.
5-2-3.
5-2.
Yes, you
That
can.
might have to be the way I go just to get a team on the pitch, which is terrifying.
Oh, I can't do that even then.
I know, it's bonkers,
but-
isn't it?
Have you got some attacking fullbacks then? Is that you've got in there?
No. I'm struggling for players. Well, listen, when you've got a team like mine where I've got Bowen, Salah, Son, Saka, Haaland, right, all premium players.
Okay.
Haaland's probably injured. Son and Salah are out. Bowen's probably injured.
Haaland. I saw some news today that Haaland's still in full training.
Is he?
So yeah, he's in full training and has been for a while, and so I would expect to see him.
That's good
this
news.
weekend.
It's not good news for me.
However,
You see, the problem I've got is if I did transfer people out, and I know I was talking to you about this, Josh. My players will lose so much in value that I think I've worked it out. If I transfer those players out, I will lose 1.5 million.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, I understand.
So I just don't want to do it.
Try and minimise it. So my question then to you would be this: is there anyone who you would need to get rid of, hypothetically, because they're out, that you will want back again? Like, you definitely know I'm going to want them again in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
I definitely want Salah back. I definitely want Son back.
Okay, so in which case you try your best not to get rid of them, and you get rid of the others.
Get rid of the shite.
Basically,
but all the others are rubbish.
Yeah, because yeah, well,
this is a problem. My back line is full of 3.9 and 4 million players. In order to get all that high value.
I'm slowly going away from centre backs. I just can't see the value in out and out centre backs with all the goals we're seeing.
It depends. There are certain ones that are worth, maybe
a couple
one that has been worth money.
I just think it's all about the fullbacks.
Unless they.
Yeah, usually
it is fullbacks.
Yeah. So I might be able to just jiggle a few. I've got 2 free transfers for this game week, so I could just have a little jiggle at the back and hence play 5-2-3, and that might get me out of jail until.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a mess. Anyway, in terms of getting people in, by the way, Estupiñán is like my top of my list for like defenders. Yeah. He is like the only player that I am happy getting in, like genuinely, actually happy. I want him. People like Richarlison in the middle, or Foden, or even people like Eze, dare I say Bruno Fernandes, like Saka if you don't have him.
Don't bother with Saka.
Okay. I'm okay with all of them, but there are reasons also that I'm not very happy about them. Richarlison is a short term, and they've got Werner in now. Maddison should be back soon. Then you've got, not that he should eat into those minutes too much, but it just means there's more rotation. Then you've got like Bruno Fernandes. Well, he just plays for Man United, and they've been up and down, even if their fixtures are good. Who else did I say? Eze. I don't really know. Palace's fixtures are okay, but they're not a fantastic team, and they rely too heavily on him.
Yeah.
Who else did I say? Foden. His minutes could be reduced now. De Bruyne's back, and Doku's back, and there's just every person I can think of I'd want to get in. I'm just not madly happy with. No. So I'm almost willing just to take a punt on the ones that I'm just the most happy with. The only 2 I can think of, Estupiñán, as I mentioned, at the back, and then Richarlison's the only one I will be willing, I think, to take a genuine punt on in the middle, because
simply because Son's out.
He is actually guaranteed some time in a good team for now, while Son is out, and while Maddison's still out, etc. So, there are. I can't give you a massive list of options.
I've gone for Diaz. I think Diaz is going to be...
Diaz or Jota.
I think is probably the best shout for me for Liverpool in the middle.
So I would just say to anyone looking at players, have a look at their upcoming fixtures and assess it based on their minutes. So who's actually going to get genuinely good minutes, and their talismanic nature to their team, and just take a punt on one, for what you can afford as well, because try and plan for trying to get Haaland back in or things like this. And I think the best thing is to try and save money where possible. So if you're unsure on one versus the other, go for the cheaper one, in my mind, for now. Unfortunately, all the players I actually am keen on, I should say, all the players I am kind of keen on in the middle, like Palmer and that, I've already got. So, Gordon might be a good shout, Newcastle. So there's a few people like that. Forwards, I'm just going to get Haaland as soon as I know he's fit, and keep Solanke and Watkins.
Fair.
Anyway, just a real quick thing before we leave it there in terms of chip strategy, because someone did ask me about this. So, my rough plan. So, no mayonnaise, absolutely not.
I'll
disgusting.
Be quiet.
My rough plan is free hitting in 29, so game week 29. Wild carding in between 30 and 32, so probably 31. Bench boost in 34 in a double game week, and triple captain in 37, which is the other double game week.
That's leaving it late, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but that's the least powerful chip, and there's so many doubles that week. You'll have a lot to choose from. So free hit 29 because that's the biggest blank week. Wild card around 30-31 because there's a big swing in fixtures, and you want to prepare yourself for doubles in 34 and 37. Is basically what I plan to do, roughly.
Fair play, mate.
Yeah.
Well,
which is why I'm desperate not to use the wild card right now.
I noticed Jack's absolutely silence over the FPL, so he's not a fan.
He's given up.
I've gone to sleep. I'm taking it. I'm just looking at my team and thinking I'm all right. I've only got 2 red flags, and it's Son and Salah. But then
you're fine.
Ben and Josh are doing very well, and they've got loads of red flags. That must mean my team's really shit.
Honestly,
this week, mate, it's a blessing.
I'm bottom of our mates one. I'm bottom of my mates one. My mate Toby and my mate Ziggy, they're above me by about 100 points at the moment. I'm desperate to get back in.
Oh, it's all good fun.
Well, a few people drop away towards the end of the season because of not being active and also having used chips prematurely. So there'll be a decent amount of catching to do.
Sounds like Ben.
Definitely.
So.
Right.
Anyway, lads.
If you're happy there, Josh, I think that sums it up quite nicely. Charlie, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me, boys.
It's always good to have another voice on the pod, and for anybody that doesn't know you, they know a little bit more about you. I've certainly learnt a little bit more about you tonight as well. So,
and I'd just like to say welcome back to Man v Fat Bournemouth, mate, because you were missed. You're a big character down there, and it's lovely to have you back.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's very kind words.
I agreed. And I am so thankful to the money I paid Steve to have you in the team.
Yeah, right. I don't fancy getting stuck behind one of his shots tomorrow night, by the way. I think it's predicted to feel like -4, so whoever's in the way of Charlie's shot, get out of the way.
Dan Lloyd was not happy with me on Monday when I saw him.
What from...
I think was it Thursday night, Sunday? I can't remember. I remember it was I fizzed one across goal and it caught him right in the nuts.
That was Tuesday. Christ, he still wasn't happy with you from then?
No, yeah, he was still holding that grudge when I fizzed at him.
With one hand holding his bollocks for the other.
Yeah, right in the cock it was, yeah. But it was a good save.
What a wonderful way to finish the podcast. In the gutter.
Lower in the tank.
Right.
Yeah,
well, that's me.
Thank you again, guys, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening. Again,
absolutely.
as we always say, please make sure you like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you can do with it, and also get in touch if you listen and you're a regular listener and you'd like to come on. We have opened the invitation out to the Bournemouth guys again to get some guests lined up, but we love hearing from people that we know nothing about. That's the big one. So yeah, thank you very much. Enjoy the pod, and we'll speak to you very soon.
See you soon.
Thanks a lot, lads.
Bye, guys.
Cheerio.